All right, ladies and joims, it is episode 24 time, and it's our year-end wrap-up. I have a piece of new kit for you, of course. The synthesizer from a few weeks back is finally here to stay. And I'm in love with having a bunch of keyboards in front of me. And for that reason, we probably won't play guitar this week, is how I'm feeling so far. Or by the end of it, we're going to pick one guitar to play. Because my plan for this year-end wrap-up is to kind of tell you what I've been up to this whole year, I guess. I'll look at that a little bit. But that will inevitably come up as we look back on the podcast of the year. This was the year I started it. This is our first time. Hello, Kevin. Kevin was first ever on camera, you know. I'm sure that's somewhere in here. I've pulled up a couple episodes here. Let's pop it on the screen. Yeah, I'll watch it that size. So, let's full screen it. We don't have to listen to me blab, because you can do that now. Episode 0. I'm just going to tell the story about the podcast. Why not? I always just kind of blab, so let's start by blabbing. Though I do require a water jug. And to get rid of this big paper towel that you don't need to stare at. Episode 0. Okay, check it out. What was I doing? Where was I at? Let's make... There you go. Boop. This is 8 months ago, I think. So that puts us in early spring-ish. Mid-spring, maybe. I don't even own that guitar anymore. Sad, but true. So much has changed. Let's just go through the room, I guess. I've got the double angle there. That's my 1965 Fender Mustang. That was so good. So good. But I got it for a great deal. And it's honestly not the kind of guitar that I would want to keep for life. That's just not... A Mustang isn't really for me in that way. So I bought it with the intention of flipping it, and I did. So, there you go. But I also wrote a bunch of songs off the new record on it. So this time of the year, I was writing... Not the first songs, because some of the songs are a few years old now, but the opening song, let's put it that way. And the... batch of songs that sort of finalized the album. Let's put it that way. When I usually have a bunch of old songs laying around and I'm always writing new songs, and then at some point I'll have some new songs and be like, oh, those fit with some of these old songs, and that seems like a thing, a section of music. And that's how you make albums. But yeah, that's enough. Well, let's go through the room. Like I said, there's Chips, there's me, there's all the synths that are back in action. Pretty much everything in here I still have, sadly, except for the guitar. That piano doesn't work and didn't work then. I went from this little mini MIDI controller to the granddaddy of a 61 key. Not 88, don't have room, but 61 was nice. The little 32 was just too little. But I also now have a small 32 in front of me with the mini log. So I'm getting spoiled for synths. And honestly, I don't feel bad about it. Because they're so great. I've got these ones running. I'm going to blab all over the place for this year-end wrap-up, because that's been the theme of the year. It's just blabbing, right? Let's hear some of what I was doing. Can you? The first episodes may have been quiet. There we go. What'd that guitar sound like? It had, not the original pickups in it. Like I said, we're going all over the place. This guitar had aftermarket pickups. They were Seymour Duncans from probably the early 70s. They were old.
You should tell the story of how I came up with this Echo.
I'm going to tell the story about how I came up with this Echo, because the Echo has gotten better. But we'll get into that as we roll through. Let's not spend forever. 4 minutes is enough time on the opening one.
Welcome to the Rick Chappell Podcast, Episode 1. I'm Rick.
So at first, episode 0, I was on Twitch, and then I was like, why don't I actually record these and put them on YouTube? The computer next to me that I'm streaming with has the ability to stream and the ability to record. So I just hit the record button 10 minutes in to a live stream, and that's how the podcast was born. And since then, I've enjoyed it in this fashion more. There's Kevin for her first appearance. That blue flamey guitar I no longer have. But it's in a video that's coming out soon, because I used it for one awesome thing before I sold it to buy a guitar that's in the background there. Episode 1 was my Jimi Hendrix Strat, which is the first guitar I ever had, in a way. That's not the one, but my first guitar ever was a Squier, like, white Stratocaster, and I wanted it to be white because I liked Jimi Hendrix when I was, like, 9. Sorry, I'm super sick. This is going to be a short week, probably, because after I finish this wrap-up, I'm taking NyQuil and going to bed. But, yeah, this was my first guitar in a symbolic way. I eventually bought a Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster, like I made in Mexico one, and now I keep it and enjoy it. Right now it has Nashville strings on it behind me there, so I use it for weird layers of things, and, well, we'll talk about that enough. I'm just going to fast forward through a few of these. The 80s Explorer and Kevin being adorable, and was this one in 720p or something? Yeah, it was. Oh, no, it's in 360. There was a long phase of the podcast. Let's get that out of the way again. Where I didn't have the HD stuff figured out. So I think this is also the point where I got a roommate, because it looks like the camera angle has changed to be much closer to me. I think this is even the episode where they walked in. Yeah, there's their bed. So there was a person living here for, like, we'll count the weeks together, but it was a while. There was a bed and a coworker of mine. You can see a bunch of their stuff. I hid it all out of the frame there. But I had just bought that guitar that day. It's now been modified a little bit, and I did a whole episode on that, and it's even hanging behind me there. You might be able to tell what's different now. Which would have to move that way. It's all black. Used to have some shiny chrome bits, and I thought that was lame. I still have those pickups in it.
And kind of the point of the podcast is not...
who cares about the point back then? It's better now. Anyways, the Mustang's there. Those speakers are no longer on the wall. Those pickups are still in it. It still has passive pickups because they're really good. Still digging them. A bunch of stuff in this rack has changed, but I'm not going to get into the minutia of that because it's not finished being built, and when it is done, I'll just make a video on that instead. Up next was the Stratocaster.
Welcome.
I'm going to mute that again. This was when I had the girl mannequin behind me there. That is from my grandpa. I got that from him after he passed away. I was like, okay, you got to give me, I don't care about any money. Give me that thing. And it's the Sailor Jerry's Rum Girl. He had it tattooed on his arm. And he had the real one. So for a while, I shoved it back there to creep out said roommate. And this was the week, I'm probably going to blow my nose a bunch and gross a bunch of you out. Like I said, I'm sick. I think I got a cold from Christmas and all the people, you know. You saw nothing, you know nothing. I had a compressor that week, a hardware compressor. I said I wasn't getting it to the rack, but that didn't work out. Now I have a preamp with a compressor built into it. Way better. But it's not used on this microphone. It was for a while, but that's some minutia nobody cares about. If I notice it, I will. I'll point it. Actually, you know what? I'll point it out later. It comes in way later when I finally bought the C414. What I was blabbering about at first about this episode, we're on to number 3, is that... Oh, hello, Kevin. That Strat didn't come with an Evertune, and I had it put in by a great local tech named Steve Brand. I do need a humbucker put in it still to make it finished and perfect for me, but we'll get around to that later, me and Steve. Episode 4, I redid this one because it failed. I remember trying to do it live on YouTube with the Stormbender. Just straight up didn't work. Anything fun I can skip through. It's glitchy as hell. The audio of it's okay, but I'm talking about the stuff you can see on camera. Oh, there's Kevin bumping our current camera. Thanks, sweetheart. Some of the colors back in these ones aren't as solid either. It's just how it went. I was always learning to light it. There's definitely... So now we're zoomed in a bunch more. See, this is the roommate. I had the wide-angle lens and a real lack of space. Even though, ironically, now the camera's on the desk. It's way closer than it was back then, and it's way better. But, yeah, that's... the Frankenstrat. That's a classic. That's hanging behind me all the time. The Eddie Van Halen guitar. Also, you'll see in this episode, because I took it off the wall, I didn't want to leave it empty. So I put my old Dean up there. That guitar doesn't work. It's a slab of a guitar that's broken. Like some of the wood came out of it. It's unrepairable for the amount of money I'd ever want to spend on it, kind of thing. It's a really cheap, made overseas copy. So one day I just got bored and spray painted it Eddie Van Halen style and kept it and like hung it on a wall because I thought it looked cool. Years later, I finally bought the Frankenstrat guitar. I could get rid of the Dean, but hey, I just throw it in a closet or something somewhere and pull it out if I want to put it on camera. So there you go. Episode 6 was the time I bought a Firebird from my good friend's dad, who's also just my good friend now. That thing is so good and hanging behind me every week if I'm not playing it because it fits like a puzzle piece next to the Stormbender, and I think that's really funny. Like just right where is it? Right there. Oh, this is so hard to do. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Did I do it? Yeah, you get the thing I'm trying to do. And yeah, for that reason, it looks great. And you bonked your noggin. Poor Kevin. For that reason, I'll keep it forever. And also, I bought it from my buddy Tim, so I'll keep it forever. Episode 7, the time my roommate was on.
All right.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 7 of...
And it sounded a little distorted. I think that's the first time I used my microphone preamp we talked about earlier, was to run both of them. This is Piper, my old roommate. They lived with me for, like I said, I guess we're on to maybe, it felt like maybe 6 weeks or so, I think it was. And then came back to visit for like a week before they went to university. They worked with me at Long McQuaid and then left on a big vacation. Oh, sorry, I should explain why they lived with me. They lived in Abbotsford for like a year off of work before school, and lived on their own with a boyfriend. And then from there, what happened? Lease expired, needed a place to crash essentially for a month and a half. And I was like, let's throw a bed in the corner. So we did. And it was rad. I had enough money to buy a lot of McDonald's for a while. And yeah. We also made a podcast episode. It was fun having a roommate. I do consider doing it again just because, like, hey, money. But then I'd probably sleep in here this time, and I like having a bedroom. Episode 8 is my root beer burst Les Paul. A lot of these guitars I still have. I think I'm not in the mood to keep collecting, that's for sure. But they're so good, I can't help it sometimes. I got this back in 2014, brand new. I tell the story in this, but I'll sum it up that I sold a truck, like my truck, and on the way home, stopped at the bank, and then stopped at the music store, which is a bad idea. And that was hanging on the wall. Hey, there's Kevin. And yeah, I basically had to have it. It was the top of the line at the time, basically. It's not a custom or anything, but every once in a while, Long McQuaid would get in. Like, it's pretty much once a year. A line of just the best tops or whatever. Like, they would just send in a good shipment. And that was a good shipment. And I snagged it, I think, right away. This is long before I worked there. Like, long before. But since I've worked there, I've checked all my receipts and stuff when I'm bored. And that guitar wasn't in the store for very long, I'm pretty sure. Because I was like... the manager at the time was even like, that's the most beautiful guitar I've ever seen. And that was after I bought it. So he made the sale. Gonna blow my nose again while you look at my Charvel Model 6. Oh, I'm sure a lot of you are sick. Some of the guys at work are too. Hey, there's Kevin again. That's a guitar that's not hanging in the room. And I consider selling a lot, but I just can't bring myself to. It's really good. Wow, I'm lightheaded. That was a big honk on the nose. Deep breath. What if I just pass out on the podcast? Just hit the ground. That'd be a season finale. I should mention that it's not going to be episode 1 next week. It'll be episode 25, but I figure every year is a new season, so I'll implement some changes. We'll talk about that a little later. I have a small list still. We'll get to comments. We'll do all of that. But we're firing through the guitar collection in season 1 so far. The 80s. Oh, this is also the time when I would try to hide the bear in the back of a lot of the episodes. Still have the bear. Where's the bear? Bear's in a closet right now. Got that bear from a secretary at work years ago. Apparently I had a type, you know. Bears. No. Cute receptionists. Anyways, back to public things you should share. This Chappell Model 6 was and is a great guitar. I went through a phase of trying to modify it, and I put a different bridge on it and some things. It's basically right back to that shape now. That's how it was when I bought it, less the chrome knobs. And yeah, it's got a tone to it that nothing else I've ever owned does. So anytime I think about selling it, I plug it in and like, it plays so good and it sounds so good. I use it for a lot of solos too. I try to find an excuse on every record to use it on a solo because if I'm going to keep it, I have to use it. Like there's no point in letting it collect dust. So there you go. What's up next? Kevin again. This is when I got the white balance figured out, it looks like. The saturation's good for once. I don't know if I graded them by episode 10, but it looks like it maybe. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I graded them, and that's my 1.0 Cannibalismo. 1.7, sorry. Oh, there's double the Kevin. One on screen and one in reality here for me. I know it's so gross to watch me blow my nose on the podcast, but I got to get one done, and that's how it goes. Both the podcast and a nose blow. It's a seasonal flu, and I wish the season were over already. That 1.7 Cannibalismo, I tell a story all in this. You can go watch these back. It's been modified by a different tech that was not Steve, because this guy sucked shit at one point. At one point he was great too, but like, go watch it. I'll tell you the full story. Let's move on. I love that guitar though, and I use it on a big heavy metal project you'll see later. Let's just skip this episode altogether because it looks like the framing and everything is exactly the same and nothing's changed except for the bear is spreading his legs and is covered by a painting. And I remember I played that guitar way later. Pretty sure the camera is still up on the, I have a roommate angle. This is the week I had the Tone Master Pro for a review. And that was a video that actually got some reviews. So all of these videos were like big breaks. Like all of a sudden we're up to 2 months ago and we started at 8 months. So there was a lot of gaps in there. You can probably tell by like how long my hair gets or something or you just go watch back and see the dates. Why did I take so many breaks? I'm going to sneeze. No. Things like making a record, things like being depressed, things like all life things, you know? But we're consistent now and the views are growing because of that. So we're definitely going to stick to it. The views have gone up on the channel overall since I started doing gear reviews like this podcast, like this week on the podcast with that big thing. Oh, you can't see. There's a Fender Tone Master Pro on the desk in episode 12 for the listeners and those that didn't see my big old noggin there. You know, let's just bring it up like that. There you go. What else is in this one here? That's my not 1.7. That was the last one. This is my 7-string non-Evertune. Evertunes are amazing. But for the 5%, let's call it 5% of the time that you don't want to be perfectly in tune and you want like crazy sustain and like maybe a feedbacky thing. Well, Evertune can still feedback. But you know what I mean. The out of controlness a little bit. That's the guitar I go to. It is arguably less out of control because it's a baritone, and that's why I love it so much. But that is the most heavy metal flying V compared to a blood-splattered flying V possible. It's 28-inch scale length, 1 billion pounds, hanging way behind the lights right now. Hurts my back to stand up with it. Change that trash can after this and everything. This is a whole messy week, folks. That's a great one. After that, we did my other V, my Dave Mustaine V, that I got back in high school as a gift from my grandma. This was the first guitar my grandma ever bought me, and now she bought me one more one. She gave me some money towards one more that I will share later as it comes up. But this thing she bought me back when I was in high school. This was her big like graduation gift to me, essentially. And I love it so much. It's signed by Devin Townsend from the first time I ever met him. I put a strapping and lag sticker on it that I made in high school, and then had him sign it. So he was like, okay, this is weird. This is a Megadeth guitar, but sure, kid. Oh, we turned the synths off. Let's bring them back. Just for some slightly interesting background sounds. I like to hit random keys and sequence them. There we go. And just see what it does. Maybe at the end of this episode we'll pick a guitar and I'll play along with the synthesizer and all that. This is a guitar I don't own. Frankly, it's not mine. I brought it to make a video. I brought it home, I should say, to make a video. I borrowed it from work. And I didn't even make that video. So what a fail, really. I put it on this episode of the podcast, so I at least used it for something. These are the episodes I should mention when you see that channel strip back there and this microphone. Oh, you can't see it because I'm losing track of things. When you see that channel strip there and this microphone in episode 14, that's a real-time compressor that I finally solved. I, at one point earlier on, tried to run like just a cloud lifter into a real FET-style compressor, and it worked, but only if I dimed a certain couple parameters, and then it had a high noise floor, and then it still had like a pulse low frequency issue, unless it was plugged into the right power supply. But even that was iffy. It didn't work for me. I don't want to crap on the brand because I'm sure it's great at what it's for. But I ended up buying a different thing that had a mic pre-built into it, and it's just a smarter way to do it. This guitar is amazing, but I don't own it, so let's just move on. We're all the way up to episode 15, the episode that starts with microphone full of reverb. And my Evertune Strat again. That's the episode, I can already tell. Because 1989 is on the desk that I complain about the 1989 remix. Re-recording all that. And now, here, we're fast-forwarding. We're 20 minutes in. It's not that fast. This was the episode 16, that I feel like I finally nailed the camera angle. And I've been kind of low-key chasing it ever since, because I needed to make some changes to fit the right things on the desk, but it's there's no more tripod. The camera is just where it's at now, which is held up by some tapes and CDs and like music and a book and just some stuff to prop it up on the right angle. Now there's keyboards in the shot because I have the larger keyboard and whatnot, and the synth that finally came home. I think that's in one of these upcoming weeks. But this was the episode I was going to talk about this guitar too. This was these are the episodes that are getting tagged finally. So I'm not doing this, but sometimes it'll go through and do it itself. Like when there's a kitten fight I talk about, or my Ibanez, or a Zach Wild contest. It's really cool. I have no say in that. I guess that starts at episode 16. Maybe that's viewer done. I have no clue, but that's great. That's when you can start to finally get a feel for all the things I talk about. Chapter markers. Let's see if they're even in the future episodes. Episode 17 doesn't have them. Don't know how I did that. Don't know why it did that. Maybe we'll get back to that in the future. Episode 17 looks like crap on the camera like that. Let's minimize it a little bit. Camera. The colors are just bad because I'm using a screen capture. You don't care, but there you go. Episode 18 was the time that the Blackout Explorer finally got blacked out. We're basically up to now. You can just see my hair get longer at this point because I need a haircut. Oh, this was a good opener, I think. I just played guitar. I was really hoping Kevin would jump up for the best intro ever. I guess that didn't actually happen. Episode 19, I play the Frankenstrat again. And once again, you can see as soon as I pull it off the wall, I put that Dean up just to have something in the background. Oh, there's Sleepy Kev. One of these episodes, the Kevin camera finally makes an appearance, and we'll get to that later too, because I have the Kevin camera for her weekly appearance. Episode 20, we're back to the Les Paul. We're back to other guitars now, so I don't have to get to all these. Except for there's a great Kevin shot. And the most recent and last guitar my grandma's going to buy me ever, I bet. She just contributed some money towards this, her and my grandpa. This was and is my most cherished guitar now, really. My 2020 Murphy Lab 58 Les Paul Light Age. That is just so good. It's hanging out behind me. I've changed like the switch tip, pulled off the thumb bleeders, and top wrapped the bridge. And that's it. Done forever. Thank you very much. Episode 22. Do I play guitar? I play the Firebird. What a great guitar. And I'm in my work clothes because I think I filmed this one right before I went to work. Yeah, late posting because I forgot all about it, and I worked Sundays all this December. December's been a hard one. I think that's why I'm sick, is like the combination of some people I saw that were, getting over colds. My uncle especially. Damn you. No, I love you, bud, and that roast beef was totally worth it. But, I think you gave me your sickness. And then last week, the Holiday Hurrah. And there's 25 minutes. The Holiday Hurrah just showed me playing the Murphy Lab again because I'm loving it. And I'm wearing the Christmas suit. But with that, there is all your episodes so far. That was season 21 of the Rick Chappell podcast. What else happened in the year? I released an album in January. So I started the podcast up really I guess it was 8 months ago. So like I said, early spring there. January, I released the album, Black Tie Affair. I should really have a copy of it. That'd be convenient. That should be my album of the week this week, my own. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. I worked really hard on it for a bunch of years. When I finally got around to finishing it was after a long break from it too. There was a couple really, because it took me like a decade, if I'm honest with you. Got into a big car accident. I moved a lot. Like a lot can happen to you in a decade from, graduating high school to a near-death experience. So all of that happened by the time that the first song was written to the last song was written, really. First song for Black Tie Affair, I think, was Love Blind, which is an instrumental. Where is it? It's on Apple Music. I can find it. Black Tie Affair. And it's on Spotify and all those things. It's by Rick Chappell. You know it. You know me. Not the artist, because that's not me. There we go. Albums. Black Tie Affair. Oldest song is, Love Blind, followed by, I don't know, maybe Fallen. And I don't know. And then there's a chunk of songs that were from 2015-ish. Favorite Story, On Again, Where in the World. I think portions of Light Strides. Never Knew You was written back in high school. It's another high school song. Self-Discipline was written in like 2017. I think finished in 2018. And then the last song, the most recent song on there is London Fog. And honestly, it wasn't written to be part of, I had these, 9 songs kind of put together. And then I wrote London Fog, and London Fog came out really good. Like, when I recorded it the first try, I thought it sounded worth releasing. So I just released it, and it got a bunch of streams. Like, that one's got a couple thousand. That's my biggest hit I have so far. A couple thousand streams is not a hit, but hey, it's the best I've done. So there you go. And, so I figured I may as well put it on the album because people like it. And it fits in really well. It's of that time period, and it's of that ilk. I started on the new album I started heavy on it, the real recording, when my roommate moved out, because I was like, I can move back into the studio full time. And, but I started writing it, and I started writing it in high school. Or what's the oldest song? Oldest song on the new album is 2016, maybe around there, 2015. No, 2016, 2017, one of those. Make up your mind, Rick. And then the most recent is this year. Literally one of them I wrote on live stream. You can see it on YouTube right now. It was called, at the time it's called Groundhog Day. And there's another one called Back in Time. So if you want to hear the new record, there's 2 songs that they sound different now and they're a lot better. But you can get a preview. They're out there. Let's pull up one of those videos for giggles. Why not? I'll play you a clip of the new album. There you go. I'll play you a little clip of the demo, and I'll play you a little clip of where it's at now. So how it was at the end of the video that I posted back when I wrote it. And then right now there's no vocals on anything, but everything else is for the most part done. So, playlists. How do you find it? Let's give you the tour. To find it, you just go to youtube.com/Rick Chappell is great. Or go to rickchappell.com and link it from there. And there's playlists. Song in a Day live stream. Groundhog Day, that's one of them. Where's the finished product? Try it and see what happens. I wrote this one live with commentary. So it's pretty cool that this one made the album. I thought it was pretty good. Let's get to the end where I actually just debut it. And how hopefully you, but how I've been somewhere else. What's going on? I have a good stream, brother. I'm back. I read the comments as best I could while I was sharing it. Oh, here, when I leave, that's when it plays. This was the demo of Groundhog Day that I wrote live in 3 hours and 20 minutes. Turn it up a little bit. Oh, I can't. Well, listen close. So drums, bass, guitar. The lyrics have been altered now. This song has a different name. It's a whole different thing. And I'll show you a little bit of it later, but what else was on the new album? Back in Time is on there. And Back in Time sounds like this. That's just me making a stupid noise. Nope. Okay, now where's
You know what? That sounded
where's the
so-
bounce?
And sugar coated.
In the demos, it's just me singing what comes to mind. And a lot of the lyrics change, and a lot of lyrics stay the same. But I'm just jotting down ideas.
Darling, I've gone astray, but
So this one, we're 4.5 hours in, and it may not sound impressive, but there is drums and bass.
so long I've been away.
But it sounds so much better now that I've had months to refine it. So let's just play a little clip of that. Oh, I shouldn't give away anything that I don't want to share. Well, who cares? Demos. No, it's called Outlier. There we go. Instrumental mixes. Yeah, let's do Back in Time. No, skip ahead. You don't want to give away any of those. So like I said, there's no vocals on this stuff just yet. And the mixes aren't all there, you know, because there's no vocals. But you can at least hear that there's more layers, and there are better layers and layers.
Just don't cry. So long I've been away that I couldn't get back in time.
And I'm not going to spoil the whole surprise of a record for you. But yeah, that record's coming along. I'm going to sing it in January. That's the thing. I've buckled down. I got the microphone pre's. I got the microphone, not pre's. I got the pre, I've got the compressor, I've got the mic, I've got it all dialed in how I like it. So that the reason I wanted to have it all dialed in the way I like it is when I start singing on it, if I mess things up or get a better idea or want to go back and fix a word or a line and a backup in a song, I don't want to have to redial in the microphone settings. I want to just set it up the same. So I wanted to do a couple other projects that you'll see. You know, I did the Cult of Personality video that'll come out really soon. It's getting mastered right now. And I did another video you'll see soon. I sang another Nickelback song, because how can you not? The vocals sound so good, so that was my target, was to get a Mutt Lange vocal chain out of this. And I think I've kind of done it in my own little cheaty way. A lot of it comes down to this. There's a button for a chorus that if you add a reverb. Look! See, it just sounds like the thing. Photograph without it. Anyways, that's the secrets of making music. I reveal all of these in my Song in a Day live streams that I need to get back to. What's the last time I started those? First one is 10 months ago, so before the podcast was a thing. This is when I was trying to get on Twitch, and I was kind of live streaming and trying to come up with what to do. And one of the Twitch viewers, I think, even came over to YouTube. So there you go. Not one, a couple of you, but Sam for sure. Good old Japanese people. You love me, says my analytics. Oh, the last Song in a Day was when my computer shat itself, so I got worried I couldn't do them anymore. Thankfully, my computer has been a good machine lately, and when it comes to recording the vocals, I'm actually doing it in a way that's easier on it by processing my vocals ahead of time and then doing them in a separate session from the rest of the music. So I will just sing on top of an instrumental music track and then bring all that finished stuff mixed down into the song just to bring down my track count and not make my computer commit suicide. Though next year, my goal is to pay off everything, be debt-free, and then take out a little bit of debt and get a new iMac or a Mac Tower or a Mac Studio or just whichever computer of the time that is feasible and powerful, has a silent, if no fan in it, and much more RAM and computing power than I currently have, just to really take advantage of all the new stuff I've been doing. And computers have a shelf life, and this one's hitting it. This is I'm not going to show you my computer information. That's a bad idea. But I'm going to tell you some of it. This is a 2017, which doesn't sound ancient, but sadly, when you run them almost around the clock and get them really hot with video and audio and extensive plugins on both of those things and live streaming and all these things. At one point, I was live streaming and recording off of the one computer. That's why this laptop has been my godsend. This laptop can run things if this computer goes down. It's my backup, but also it is my recording and streaming computer. That's one thing that got developed throughout these episodes was at one point the camera was where the laptop is. So once I got that had to be taken into consideration. So, let's get the Kevin cam out because we're at the 37-minute mark here. And honestly, my voice is just feeling so done. There she is. Wow. Way to look happy. You look like my ex. Just always mad. What did I do? I said you look pretty. Not pretty enough. She's over it. Anyways, with that, okay, let's. Do I want to play some guitar? I don't feel good, man. I feel fine. I just have like a crazy sore throat, so I don't want to talk anymore. And the next week, we're gonna. I'll talk about season 2 because I have that written down. Season 2 starts next week just by being next year. Season 3 will start January 2025. Spoiler alert. We'll see what is new then. But in season 2, I'm gonna start. I have an email I've made up. It won't be live for episode 1, but I will announce it on episode 1, where you'll be able to write in and send things in anonymously or known. The YouTube comments are great, but they are limiting because I've had some people reach out and want to send in like music or things that aren't on YouTube, or they want to reach out and like actually send me MP3s of stuff to play on and things like that. So we'll have an inbox. I also want to start showing clips of things I find on Instagram of like people getting hurt and stuff I find hilarious. Because there's a couple podcasts I watch that do that. And I'm not going to steal their clips, but there's enough things on the internet to share. So we're going to start sharing some Instagram videos. There'll be more Kevin always. Some of the videos will be cats, and some of them will be pain. And maybe that'll be the game, is will the video be cats or pain? I'm writing that down. Season 2. The plan, folks, just so you know and I know. Cats or pain? Internet clips. And you can join in too. That'll be the whole point of the email addresses. Send in video clips, whether they're links or Instagram things or whatever. You can find me on my website, Chappell.com, where there's links to every social media platform I've ever been on. So Twitter, that I don't use that much. The Facebook page that, I don't know, I don't check those messages either, honestly. Nobody's on there. Instagram that I'm on. You can go message me on Instagram. I share a lot of these things on Instagram too, like a lot of the pedal videos. I'll share some behind the scenes stuff. A lot of kitty cats. In the summer, I share road trips because I have a car that works in the summer, so I drive in the summer. But we're also going to do, like I said, we'll have the email. I'll have the internet clips of Cats or Pain. And yeah, I feel like taking a break. If I was going to play a guitar this week, it'd be the Murphy Lab again. I'm in love with it. It's so good. And it better be for, you know, what they are. I got a discount on it for working at the store I do, obviously. You should all know that by now. I talk about how I got that in weeks and weeks and weeks. Funny enough, it wasn't on the podcast when I rented it for a month over the summer. I think it was actually during a month I took a break. I went camping. I brought it up in Princeton and Headley, BC for a little while. Back when I had a roommate to take care of the kitty cat, you know. And yeah, I recorded all the drums, bass, guitars, and extra stuff, and synths and strings. I have a real violin on this album. And I've mixed like 80% of it. So the vocals, like I said, will go on last and a coat of polish and a master, and it'll be out early next year. I'm aiming for spring, maybe early spring, mid-spring. It's a summery album, so I'll feel like promoting it all summer, hopefully, and not just crawling back in bed and thinking up the next one. Because my goal for the next few years that you'll see on the podcast, and I'll talk about incessantly, is to do a record a year. I have enough ideas scheduled out for at least the next 2 or 3, and I hope to continue on that pattern. You know, by doing the Song in a Day live streams, occasionally an idea will stick. And sometimes you write a song off of the stream, and sometimes a cover song will even make an album or 2 here or there. We'll see. But, yeah. This year's album was Black Tie Affair. I released it, even though it was from a previous time period, really, it felt like. I just finally finished it at the end of 2022 and put it out literally like, I think it was January 10th or something. And then I worked on Outlier all year, or this year, yeah, all year. And I'll finish it up over the first half of next year and work on the next one over the first half of, or the second half. You know what I mean? It'll trickle through. I'll take hopefully a month or 2 off where I don't listen to myself make music for a little while. Because it's like any artist, I think. Like, I don't mean that like any other artist that makes their own stuff, because I'm sure they have their own ways of dealing with their feelings about it. But I mean like any other musician. I don't want to hear anybody every month, every week, every day, or even your year. You know? It wears on you. So my own voice when I'm doing the heavy metal screaming or the softer singing or whatever, finally, after a while, I'm like, okay, I need to shut that guy up for a while. So we'll take that break after I mix the album and really make sure I sound the way I want myself to on this time out and all that. Black Tie Affair, just to blabber about it for another couple of minutes here while we close out. We'll do 45 minutes this week. Black Tie Affair sounds really good. I'm proud of it. It has a few flaws that I fixed in the CD, if you buy the CD, just because I learned by the time I printed those copies. And sadly, if you buy a copy this year and over the next couple of weeks here, it will not sound as good as the next batch of them I will put out. So I'm going to print Outlier. I'll print some CDs of that. And I'm thinking of doing a 2-disc version of Outlier with Black Tie Affair included. That's kind of remixed and just improved upon and has a bonus song on it. Just because it doesn't cost me that much more. And I only made 100 copies of Black Tie Affair, so it's not like there's a lot of those CDs floating out there anyways. So I may as well just do more of it and then also throw in all these new things, and that'll be the main packaging and everything, you know, will be Outlier like that. So there's your spoiler of my plans. I'll also just put it up for free on Apple Music and streaming and all those things. So if you don't want to pay for it, you can just go listen to it and not hear any of the new songs or any of the old songs and all that. You can go listen to them now. They're already out there. But I have no idea how to market myself as a completely independent musician with no label. So every time I do a release, it's a new idea. So the next release is actually not the album. It's the 500 subscriber video. Even though we've hit 540, that was our goal for so long. We hit that. What episode did we hit that at? Episode 20 something. We finally hit our our 500 subscriber goal of the Rick Chappell YouTube channel. Episode 21, so really only a month ago. That was my goal to hit by the end of the year, and we've already exceeded it. We hit it a month ago, and I've been on an upward swing, like I said, since the gear reviews hit. We're at 541 now. By 600, the 500 subscriber video will be live. It's all done on my end. Like I said, I'm waiting for that final audio and a coat of polish on the video. I'll sync, with that final audio. But with that, that's pretty much 45 minutes. My throat is so sore. I need to drink water, make some tea, have some orange juice. I don't know. Stop talking for a chunk of time. The mini log finally came here. came home today, and I'm very happy with that. What a way to end off the podcast. And it makes weird sounds if you make it do weird things. And for that, I'm very happy with it. See you guys next week, where I will play guitar, unveil the sound and the Axe Effects patch and all that stuff that I've dialed in for a new year and a new hurrah. Because it's going to be a fun one. 2024, I'm not going to be that guy that's like, I'm going to light a match and watch it go. No, you have to kindle the fire, you idiot. So I'm going to share as much as I can all 2024 long. Going to aim to not miss a week with the podcast by maybe pre-filming one or two if I have to. And yeah, even if I'm sick like this, we will push through here and there. Now there's a sleepy kitten I'm going to drag to bed with me. And yeah, goodbye. Happy New Year. All those things. I will see you guys next week. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll read it next week. I didn't do comments this week. We'll get to all of them next week. If you leave a comment on this week's podcast, I'll read it. That's what I'm trying to say. See you guys next week. Later.